Hey there, everyone. Welcome
Hi.
back. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. It feels like it's been a while.
It has. We did a rerun last week.
We did. We were actually last week guests on Spilling the Tea in GovCon with Teresa Moon. So if
Yes.
you checked it out, be sure to check out that episode.
Hmm.
And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Ashley Duwel. And if you're returning, welcome back.
And I'm Natasha Velez, and we are going to explain today the who, the what, the why, and the what now.
Right?
What in the world now of the DBE Interim Final Rule in a way that's easy for small businesses to understand.
Yeah, and if you are a certified DBE and you got that dreaded inactive email recently, don't panic. We're going to unpack exactly what's happening and what you're going to need to do to get back reinstated. So, this is really one of the biggest changes the DBE program's seen in its 40-year history. So, everyone's a little bit stunned, but it just happened with the 8A program. So, it's not going to be too detrimental.
Well, I think our headline was funny, and I was like, "It's not clickbait, I promise." It's
Yeah, literally
very.
everybody has to recertify.
I had her recertified.
Did you get it done already?
No, because you have to do it.
Well, let's get to unpacking then, because
Yeah.
if you haven't done it yet, I'm sure there are many people in the audience that hasn't started yet either. So first of all, let's unpack what literally just happened. The Department of Transportation issued an interim final rule, or IFR, as you might hear us refer to it throughout the episode, that basically immediately redefined how firms qualify for the DBE and the airport concession, otherwise referred to as the ACDBE programs. And basically, what it did is similar to what happened with the 8A, if you've been tracking federal in the
Mhm.
past couple years, is they've essentially removed the race and sex-based presumptions of social and economic disadvantage. So every applicant, whether you're brand new or you're already certified, you still have to now prove this on an individual case-by-case basis.
Yep.
And pretty much all certified firms are going to have to be reevaluated through the new unified certification program under those new standards. So until any of those until the applications are submitted and the queues are cleared, essentially we're going to be in a holding pattern. So that everybody's aware, the comment period does end on November 2nd, 2025. So we are still in that comment period. If you want to have your voice heard, I encourage you to participate.
So, what type of comments can we submit?
I mean, that depends, right? I mean, whatever.
Like, is it gonna be like the 80, like where I have to write? I think it was the 80 we had to write like why we were considered disadvantaged.
Yeah. So basically, DOT hit the reset on the entire DBE program, and every
Mhm.
certification's essentially paused.
Okay.
So you're not decertified for doing something wrong. It's just a policy shift, and they're requiring that extra element, which we're going to get into in a moment.
Got it.
So with that, moving on to the why. So there was a court case, much like in the 8A program.
Yeah.
Um, Basically, the Mid America Milling Company versus USDOT out of Kentucky in 2024. And just to simplify this for you, contractors challenged the constitutionality of race-based presumptions, and the court agreed, said that DOT hadn't proven a compelling reason to keep them in there and reinstate or keep them instated. So that triggered an injunction, which then led to what we're seeing now, which is the interim final rule. Tie in the Supreme Court student for fair admission, the Harvard decision, and how it kind of changed the legal environment for federal affirmative action style
Mhm.
programs. Like it was bound to happen. We saw this happen with the 8A program. What was it, 2023 or 24? I can't remember. It's been a while now.
Mhm.
But the only difference was they didn't necessarily take everyone's certification away. The SBA allowed those who were already certified to submit that additional proof, whereas this time everyone's paused and must physically reapply to the program.
Okay.
And what's that?
Why everyone's inactive? So everyone is inactive? So it's just a whole reset? Oh,
They
Lord.
are decertified. Everyone at this stage has received an email letting them know that, hey, you're no longer certified. You're going to have to reapply to the program. So they're going basically 0 certifications until everybody's recertified, which in a grand scheme, I'm a
Sounds like,
fan of working smarter, not harder, right?
yeah, I feel like that sounds chaotic.
It's a head scratcher, I will admit. It does not seem like the most efficient way to do it. However,
No. I mean, I get it, but I also don't. I don't. All right, fair enough.
it's also important to note here that there's a temporary suspension of the DBE contracting goals. So primes are not required to meet those participation percentages right now, as of today, October 16th of 2025, just in case you're watching this on demand later. And basically, the smaller firms now, you're losing visibility, you're losing work. The primes are not mandated to keep you. It's a tumultuous time out there for disadvantaged firms. And keep in mind, a lot of these are trades companies, right? Construction companies, those who are working in the field that are not necessarily sitting in front of their computer to even really
Right.
know or have their ear to the wind of what's going on. So it's going to be a huge impact for a lot of folks out there, but there is a path forward. There's definitely a path forward. And is it going to be a lot of paperwork? Sure, it always is. But we do have to recertify anyway every 3 years. We're just going to push this one a little bit faster.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about what you guys need to do next. The package is going to be a little bit different this time. So there are going to be some additional documents that you're going to need to provide. One is going to be your eligibility narrative. This is a personal narrative, which is essentially your short social disadvantage story. And when I say short story, keep in mind that you have to prove, perpetual over long term, not just an incident here or there. And I have to say, just, watching the 8A transition take place, it led to some very tough conversations and some of the things, that were disclosed to me by my clients of issues of this disadvantage. And it's not going to be an easy task to recall these things. It really isn't. It isn't for anybody. Nobody wants to go back and think about their past trauma and the terrible things that happened to them. But
Right.
that's essentially what they're asking us to do in this short story. We do have to supply supporting evidence whenever possible to the claims that we're making. So documented proof is going to be important here on a case-by-case basis. And you're also going to have to provide a personal net worth statement. Be factual, be specific. It's not necessarily it's not about, whose situation is the worst. It's just about documentation that it happened and how that affected you in business or education, how that held you back. So be proactive. Please don't wait until your name disappears from the directory, guys. That waiting until the last minute is really going to only lead to loss of revenues. And we don't want to see that for anybody. Now, if you are just joining us, I see some new people on. Please feel free to pop your questions into the comments box, into the chat. And if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, you can definitely support us by subscribing, liking, and sharing with someone that this might be a benefit for. Here is how you tap the bell to be notified when we go live. We go live every other Thursday. Well, technically every Thursday, but it may or may not be live content. It may be pre-recorded sometimes. There's a lot going on.
We're very busy.
There is. All
But
right.
we're working on consistency.
Yes, we are at least staying consistent. You guys can stop yelling at me on LinkedIn. Now, the DBE program, I will say, before we dive into any more of the path forward. Like, we know that we have to reapply. But a lot of folks are going to be wondering, what is even the advantage of going through this? Let's say that you're new here and you've not been DBE certified and you're learning of the program today for the first time. There are subcontracting plans, and traditionally the DBE program was only really utilized in construction, whether that's building construction or civil construction, or engineering rather. However, that database, being in it, I have seen more contractors get work just from existing in that database than any other database that's out there, including the federal databases.
Right.
If you do qualify for the program and you do want to get involved, now's a good time to certify. You might as well do the heavy lifting now, because it's not like, your social disadvantage is going to change come recertification. You prove it once, it's essentially going to just exist.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a lot of folks out there that probably are not sure what they're going to put in their social disadvantage narrative. So let me go ahead and pull something up and I'll share. There was a really good resource on the SBA's website a while back, and I'm going to use Florida DBE program. They're pretty much all the same, but I will say that there wasn't even like a blip, and Florida had the website updated like with just a matter of a refresh. It was pretty insane. There was no error message. There was no oh geez, we're stopping certifications. They just like quickly, smoothly transition. So when you go here, where's my screen share? There it is. So when you go here, these are essentially the qualifications of the DBE program. And let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger for those of you like me who have old eyes. All right. It is a federal program, but it's managed, the DOT, is managed at the state level. So every Department of Transportation has a disadvantaged business enterprise program. You must be an existing for-profit business that is currently operational. You must meet the federal definition of a small business concern. So there is some tie-in to the federal standards there. You must be independent, which does not depend on its relationships with other firm or firms. If your company is a subsidiary of a corporation, the business must still operate in a self-sufficient manner. What does that mean, though? That means things like sharing office space. There are a lot of companies who, they'll form a second company and be sharing the same address or sharing systems. That's a no bueno in the DBE program. The qualifying owners must meet the federal definition of a socially and I cannot talk tonight. I'm sorry, guys. Socially and economically disadvantaged individual. And we'll go over what that looks like in a minute. And the qualifying owners must own a minimum of 51% of the company and have an investment in their company. The qualifying owners cannot have a net worth that exceeds 2.047 million, which I thought was a rather odd number.
That is very exact.
2.047. Like, I'd love to know the logic that came up with that number. And then obviously, I'm sorry, go ahead.
2 million's cool, but
Or 2.1, like anyway. Qualifying owners must have day-to-day control of operations and possess an expertise in their work specialty. So you can't just get a disadvantaged person and put them as owner of your construction business without them having a GC license. It doesn't work that way.
right.
It's pretty similar to the 8A program, almost to the letter now. But let's take a look at the socially and economically disadvantaged definition at the federal level for the audience. Hang on a second. Where'd it go here? I had it up and then I closed it out for some reason. All right. It describes someone who has been subjected to prejudice or bias because of their group identity, which has impaired their ability to compete in the free enterprise system. This impairment is often due to circumstances beyond their control, such as racial or ethnic prejudice, gender, disability, or long term residence in an isolated area. Take note of that. I'm going to read it one more time. This impairment is often due to circumstances beyond their control, such as racial or ethnic prejudice, gender, disability, or long term residence in an isolated area. So that's 5 points that you can choose from to make to prove this sort of perpetual social and economic disadvantage. Now, the economic's provable with your income statement, like numbers are numbers.
Yeah.
But the social disadvantage narrative essentially is going to be a short story that likely for many of us is going to be very difficult to write. The social disadvantage factors that are considered are unequal treatment in hiring, promotions, and pay, and other professional opportunities. It also looks at social patterns or pressures that may have steered individuals away from professional or business fields. There have been so many instances. And this has been one of the hardest type of assistance I've personally had to provide in my 15 years. But we do provide this type of assistance for anybody who is stuck. They're not sure what to, what to put in their narrative. Maybe they need to talk through their situations and find situations that meet that criteria confidentially. If that sounds like you, please do not hesitate to reach out. You, of course, can get assistance and support with this at your local Apex at no cost. And we are not trying to make a profit off of this by any means. We understand that you guys are probably struggling right now, and the alternative would be resubmitting your package and then potentially kicking it back and making you rewrite that. So essentially, it'd be saving yourself some time and getting back into position and getting recertified a little bit faster than you would on your own. But you certainly do not have to get the assistance. Your Apex counselor can also assist you with writing this. So I want to make sure that we don't have any questions from the audience. I know this is kind of a lot to unpack. Those
Right.
of you who are familiar with federal probably are like, oh, okay, it's just like the 8A. But if you're a DBE certified company, you may or may not have an 8A certification and may or may not have any idea of what these rules are. So would love to hear from you. If you have questions, now's the time, drop them in the comments. What do you think about all this, Natasha?
Man, I'm used to the federal, so it's like the 8A of just copy paste and send it out again. Spanish, I'm a woman, like I got a lot of disabilities and disadvantages. We'll figure it out. But I mean, I think the bigger question behind all of this is people are more nervous.
Yeah.
It's that, okay, this is what it is now. What will it be tomorrow? And for our clients and for our viewers and everyone out there, we don't know. It's changing every single day, but we will keep you informed. And
Yes.
you will make the best decisions for you, your family, and your business based on all the changes that are constantly occurring lately. I had one client come to me and said, does it even benefit me to certify if I don't even know if it's going to be relevant as a woman on small business or DBE or, all the things like, and I get it. I get it. A lot of people are cautious right now. We don't know where certifications are going. And again, as I always tell people, keep your eye on the prize. Your value is not in your set asides. I get it. It helps us be in smaller rooms and helps us bid better. But I will almost implore primes right now, big companies, to help your small businesses out. Your small ones too. They need you now more than ever. They are the backbone of America. It's a corny saying, but it is very,
It's
very
true.
100% cruise.
It's true.
So that's what I would say. Primes help your subs, help your smalls, and smalls understand that your value and your worth is so much more than just a certification.
And that's one reason, I've always preached this, and folks have argued with me for years. Never, whether it's your elevator pitch, your capability statement, your capability narrative in DSBS, don't lead with those certifications.
Right.
Program is not going away. But when it was being audited, we really didn't know what was going to happen, right? So if you placed all the value in the certification and suddenly that certification goes away, then you have to pretty much reinvent the way that you talk about yourself. So a situation like this is exactly why I've said all those years in a row, don't lead with your certs. There's a special place for that. They make you competitive. And also, if you don't have one of these certs yet, or you're just getting into contracting and you're considering it, there's a lot of folks that are going to try to sell you a certification. It may or may not be the one that you need or that will benefit your business. They'll sell you a certification where, the government doesn't even use that certification in your industry. So I always encourage everybody, do your homework, make sure that you know how the state or the federal government is going to utilize the certification that you're going after.
Right.
And, if you were a certified DBE firm, please don't sit on this email, guys. Get yourself back in that database and try to beat the line. Like, you have to understand there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of firms certified as a DBE all over the United States. There's a DOT DBE program in every single state, and everyone now is going to be mad rushing to reapply. Don't get stuck in that mad rush because they're not going to hire any more reviewers. Yeah, don't sit on it like Natasha. No, you didn't necessarily sit on it. It really just happened. So
I always just
did you get the email?
Yeah.
Do you want to share?
No.
Go look at when you got it.
It was like 2 days. I want to say Monday.
Yeah.
I got it like Monday. And it was like, okay, it's like the A-day, whatever. It's more of me having to reapply and this time just say they want like a small summary. So 1 to 2 paragraphs, nothing big, on an occasion, an event, a moment in time where I felt my life, a moment had created a disadvantage for me. I think the biggest issue was trying to figure which one. I was like, so many. Let me pull out my Rolodex. But nonetheless, it was very simplistic. So it's not a hard thing to do. Then again, it really depends on the person and the type of information, because I remember going through this for the 8A, and I've had clients tell me stories that I was just horrified listening to. And I realized that that is not an easy street to walk through for some people. And so, to remember moments where you felt like you didn't have equality along with others. So, yeah, it was really hard when we had that whole situation with the 8A for a lot of the clients that we had to help out with those write-ups. So I can't imagine this would be any easier. It's not preferable. I understand why they're trying to do that. But let's just.
But when you consider disability being one of the factors, so I'm always, I'm a silver lining type of person, right? The program is now open to a lot of folks that it was not open to before. I mean, think about the disability, the folks, the disabled business owners that in part could be business owners because they're disabled, right? I know if you put me in an office setting, I probably wouldn't do so well after all these years. But sometimes we build our lifestyle around our shortcomings. Those folks, while they may not have been women, or they may not have been Spanish or Black or Native American, they have a chance. So the program's not going anywhere. The goals aren't necessarily going anywhere. It's just a big pause. Get your applications back in. update your documents, craft that narrative. I mean, details matter. They want to know who, what, when, where, why, and how. One instance is not going to be enough. You need to show perpetual. And if anybody needs help reapplying, has questions, if you have a unique situation, don't hesitate to reach out. You know where to find us. You guys all know where to find us. I don't see any questions in the chat. Before we jump off tonight, does anyone have any questions? We will also be answering questions in between episodes. So if you happen to be watching this on demand later on, feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and we try to get a response to you within 24 hours. So I don't see anything coming through. The rule has changed, but your business still matters. And make sure that you stay eligible. Make sure that you just put your hat back in the ring. I know this is inconvenient. It is not what any of us wanted to do, is hash up all this disadvantage from our past, but necessary. It's necessary.
Hurdle in the road that we shall jump over.
Yes, it is. And at the end of the day, it's great practice, because if you ever plan on applying for 8A, this is basically exactly what that's like. So there's really no difference now between DBE application or the review process and the 8A process, other than the fact that they happen in different places. Sort of the rules are the same, the parameters are the same. So if you've already gotten that deactivation notice, you need help, send us a message, comment on this episode. We're also going to be gathering stories to help shape our future guidance. So if you guys are going through this application process, you reach a hurdle that maybe we didn't talk about today, please reach out to us. We love to hear your feedback, and it helps us produce better content to help you guys, as long as our ears to the ground and our fingers on the pulse of what you're experiencing. So, friendly reminder, because I'm full of those, don't forget to subscribe and share this episode with somebody that it might benefit. We look forward then to seeing you all live 2 Thursdays from now. Maybe live next week, but I'll definitely stream something for you guys 7 o'clock next week.
I'll be here.
You'll be here? Will you be here?
Well, I want to do grants.
Oh, grants next week. That's right. We are here. Okay.
We'll talk grants.
We're going to talk about grants next week. A lot has been changing in the grants world, so it's probably appropriate time to talk about it.
Yes.
We would expect to see as contracts are now looking more like grants, so that'll be an interesting episode to unpack.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I'm going to go ahead and watch my Steelers play some football, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.